overcoming overcoming childhood trauma. If you've had any amount of childhood trauma, especially if you grew up in a very chaotic household, and then that childhood trauma can be very hard to overcome. And in fact, you can take that childhood trauma into your adulthood unconsciously. Myself included, I had a lot of childhood trauma. Grew up in a household that was very violent, watched my mother get beat a lot. We were always running from my father. We lived in urban, very, I'm just going to say the hood. We lived in the hood multiple times, and we just seen a lot of chaotic things take place. And so when you see so many chaotic things take place throughout your life, that stuff can stick with you because you embed those traumatic events into your body. But what happens? If you're not careful, you can take those traumatic events into your childhood. And even though you have aged in numbers, you are still operating from a position of fear based on the things you've gone through as a child. And so this video is all about helping you understand how you can heal those childhood wounds, and also how you can step into a position of power when you are ready to. I want to make sure I elaborate on that, when you are ready to, because nothing I say or nothing anyone says will change your reality until you are ready for your reality to change. Now, without any further ado, a lot of people talk about the subconscious mind, but they really never tell you where the fuck the subconscious mind is. It's like, how can I reprogram something I don't know where it's located? Well, I've come to discover for my personal self that my subconscious mind is my body. And the reason I started understanding that is because the conscious mind is where I'm doing all of my conscious thinking. But my unconscious mind is my emotional mind. And where's all my emotions? My emotions are inside of my body. Our bodies are holding on to things that our conscious mind doesn't know it's holding on to. And it is our unconscious body that is influencing our conscious thoughts, even our unconscious thoughts. And all of that combined is influencing our actions. And so, if you've ever gone through trauma as a child, if you never dealt with that trauma, if you never consciously healed that trauma, oh, it's down there. It's in your subconscious mind. It's in your body. This is what Eckhart Tolle called the pain body in The Power of Now, and I think also in A New Earth. I could be wrong. He could have talked about it in one and not the other, but you get what I'm saying. The pain body. When we haven't dealt with emotional and traumatic experiences from the past, our body becomes conditioned to become addicted to those emotions related to the past. And a lot of people have those experiences, they never deal with them, and they just try to build a life on top of those traumatic experiences. Well, I found myself at the age of 27 wanting to check out from the freaking planet because I didn't deal with those emotional traumas that I had experienced. I wanted to leave the earth. I was so over being fearful. I was so over being angry, and I graduated to just being numb on the inside. And so I was just like, I'll just take my own life. But something happened when I had that thought. I had another realization that I'd been living life as a victim. I was blaming every single person, place, and thing for the reason my life wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. And I realized that I blamed everybody except for myself. Doesn't mean that I was supposed to sit there and blame myself for everything I'd gone through, because a lot of that was not my doing. A lot of it was not my my creation. But I realized that I was responsible for changing the energy I felt associated to those things. And I realized I wasn't successful in doing that. And so I started meditating. And before you know it, I was able to quiet my brain and I dropped down into my mind. I dropped down into my body. And in my body, when I became consciously aware of the emotions that were inside of my body, I realized that I still had emotions inside of there that I originally felt when I was 5 years old, when I was 6 years old, when I was 7, when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, 16-year-old me, 5-year-old me, 4-year-old me was still living inside of 27-year-old me. Damn, I thought I was over this. No, I wasn't over it. So what I did is I started focusing on those emotions and I started forgiving those emotions regardless of what they were associated with. Didn't matter if it was associated with my father or if it was associated with a school bully or a girl that broke my heart or a friend that I thought crossed me. I had to remove those emotions. I had to forgive those emotions because I realized those emotions had me trapped. They had me trapped inside of a world of instigation and a world of obligation. I call it the institution of obligation. Those emotions that I were holding on to justified why I did not like the people that were associated with those emotions. And as a result, I couldn't move forward. There's so many of us that are justifying why we feel the way we feel because somebody did us wrong at some point in the past. But until you deal with those emotions, you won't be able to move forward. When you start understanding that you have the power to go inside of yourself and heal those emotions, simultaneously, you start healing those emotional traumas that are associated with your childhood. How do we do that, Robbie? You do that by meditating and focusing on those emotions. And when you locate those emotions inside of your body, it is your job to command those emotions to release you. How do you release yourself from the traps of those emotions? Forgiveness. How do you forgive? You stare at the emotions while your eyes are closed. And as uncomfortable as it feels, you say to those emotions, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. And you smile your way through those emotions. And you sit there and smile your way through those emotions as you're saying, I forgive you over and over again. Sit there for 5, 10, 15 minutes. And I guarantee you, you will feel an emotional shift like you've never, ever felt before. If you really want to get over the past, if you really want to start overcoming those emotional traumas that you experienced as a child, you got to tap into the power of forgiveness with a smile. Focus on the emotion that feels uncomfortable. Stare at those emotions. And as you're staring at those emotions, say to those emotions, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you. And you will feel an energetic shift like you've never felt in your life. Okay. How long do you do this? You do this as a way of life. You do this until those emotions no longer bother you. And when those emotions don't bother you anymore, don't stop doing it. You can also use this technique to empower yourself and make yourself feel even more powerful anytime you are ready. You can overcome any traumatic event that happened in your life if you are willing to change the energy associated with that event. It's Robbie Cornelius, always encouraging you to master your mind and make money online. And if you like this, share this with somebody that needs to hear it. Talk to you soon.